Welcome back to the Birdhouse Dynasty Show. And tonight, our live Guillotine Draft and some news and notes from week 2 of the 2025 NFL Preseason. August 18th, 2025. Yes, we are in the 2025 preseason still. Got some Bengals Commanders action going on right now, but for you guys in particular, we have some Guillotine League action. Yes, Guillotine League's hitting up on Sleeper right now. They just brought it into the fold, and we fired one up right away for you tonight. Yes, we are in round 4 of this Guillotine League. Let's slide her down, check it out. There we go. So we had a 14-man Guillotine League. So for those of you who are not familiar with the Guillotine League, most of you probably have heard of them, but the basics of it is that it's a redraft league. Most of them are 14 teams. And the reason for that is so that you get a decent amount of weeks in, but you also don't have too small of rosters or teams. So the basics of it is that one team gets eliminated every single week. Yes, starting week 1, the lowest scoring team in the league is gone. Done for the year. Week 2. The lowest scoring team in week 2 is eliminated. You could score the most points in week 1, but then the lowest amount of points in week 2, and you are gone. Yes, it's not cumulative. Just each week, the lowest scoring team is gone. And so there's a lot of little nuances to it, a little bit different strategy than, say, just a best ball format or a regular lineup league or dynasty for sure. But yeah, it's really intriguing. I spiced it up a little. This one here we did is a 14 team, 16-man rosters start 12, so super shallow bench, right? So almost like best ball in a way. 12 of your 16 players on your roster are in your lineup, and it's a super flex, so quarterbacks are heavily favored. And there's a full point tight end premium in here, full point first downs for rushing and receiving, 6-point touchdown pass, 0.2 for passing first downs. So the high-end quarterbacks still get super valued here because it's a super flex 14-team league. So do the simple math there. Everybody wants 2 quarterbacks. That's 28 quarterbacks. I don't know how many backups these teams are. That literally means 4 of these 14 teams can roster a backup quarterback. So there you have it. This is the draft so far. We ran the randomizer 3 times. I landed the 101. Didn't plan it. It's off the randomizer. Yes, so I scooped up Lamar Jackson at the 101. Now, of course, you could have gone Josh Allen, maybe Jaden Daniels here in this format, even Jamar Chase possibly if you wanted to, but no, I just went with the top scorer from last season. Now, I had done a Guillotine League last night, and that one was a 1-quarterback league, but I was picking 14th. And so I decided 14th out of 14 teams. So in that one, I decided to go. It was also a tight end premium, a small one. I decided to go Josh Allen and Brock Bowers right off the bat, so that I had the advantage at the QB and tight end position. Now I risked it because my running backs and wide receiver room is obviously a lot smaller, a lot less good, a lot worse than most of the others in the league. But if I can get by week 1, I'm going to have Josh Allen and Brock Bowers for the rest of the season. as far as I advance. So each week I can put good bids in on running backs and wide receivers and just focus on those two positions. So that's the strategy I decided to use there. But because I took Josh Allen in that one, I decided, hey, let's go Lamar Jackson in this one. So I went Lamar at 101. Then was Mike Woe. Woe, of course, grabbed Josh Allen. I made the decision easy for him. Again, he could have taken Jade Daniels, but didn't. So big dubs there at number 3. Took JD, who's playing tonight, along with the 104 pick, Joe Burrow. And if tonight is anything to show what's coming up this season, well, the Bengals are going to be slinging it a lot. And this dude, Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, whoo! When we start talking about preseason week number 2, this guy is going to be one of the hottest dudes on the market. Not only because Brian Robinson Jr. is listed beyond the trade block for the Commanders, but this guy smoked his 27-yard touchdown around the right edge and just hit that crease, and he was gone. And, the Commanders are going to have a tough time keeping this guy off the field if they do end up stuck with Brian Robinson. Obviously, if they are able to find a buyer on Brian Robinson, then Krosky-Merritt will get plenty of work this season. But that is yet to be seen what will happen there. With the running back market in the NFL right now, I find it hard to believe that a team, especially at this point of the offseason, like we've already had the NFL draft that was loaded with running backs this year. We've already had 2.5 months of offseason, about a month of training camp now. You think somebody's going to actually buy Brian Robinson right now? Like, Brian Robinson has not been the greatest of running backs. Like, he's pretty much scored for us in fantasy based off of volume. And, Brian Robinson is just a plotter, okay? I'm not going to sit here and say that he sucks and that he's worthless, because he's not. Okay, the guy can do some things, and he's a body that can get things done. He's not, he's not a backup. He's not. I mean, you remember Jeremy Hill from the Bengals? Like, he was a plotter. Okay, that guy was done in 2 years. This dude took a gunshot 3 years ago and made it back in a month. And now the Commanders are just ready to kiss him goodbye. But hey, that's the NFL for you. I mean, Quinshon Judkins is going to be ready to roll week 1, right? So, yeah, let's get to it. All right, back to the draft here. We had Joey B going at 104 to Steve. Then at 105, Jalen Hurts. So you can see the emphasis on the quarterback position, in that it just went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then Mahomes there at the 112. This is a 14-team league, so I'll try and slide this over for you so you could see the whole board. How do I that's not gonna work. There we go. Okay, so Mahomes went at the 112. Then Jefferson and Amon-Ra. In between, we had Chase, Jahmyr Gibbs, Bijan, CeeDee, Saquon, Brock Bowers, and then Mahomes at the 112 to Hergot. All right. We've got Kyle in the room there, re-educated. He took Gibbs, followed it up with Ashton Genty. Ashton Genty had a nice preseason game. Did hit the injury tent for a moment there with a banged up shoulder, but we'll monitor that. It doesn't look to be too bad. But the key here is one of these running backs, and I threw him up on the thumbnail. That's Devon Achane. And Achane, look where he fell. He slid. We did a third round reversal because of the Superflex format. He slid all the way to about the mid third round. So from being a pretty much consensus 1-2 turn pick, this dude, he's fallen all the way to what, 28, the 33rd pick. Now, granted, this is a guillotine league, okay? And so that's part of the difference. Because I don't think that Achane will miss more than 1 to 2 weeks of the regular season, okay? It is an issue with his calf, so that's very concerning. That is not the kind of calf injuries. Calf injuries suck, I can tell you that, just from real life. And in the NFL, they suck even more. Now, he's not going to probably play the rest of the preseason. He's probably not going to even practice. So this is really going to come down to how he feels week 1 and whether the Dolphins want to risk throwing him out there on the field when they just invested a ton in the running back room. Like, think about it. They drafted Achane last year, the year before, sorry. Then last year they went ahead and grabbed Jalen Wright. Now this year they go ahead and grab Ollie Gordon in the draft. Like, they are one of the teams, along with like Baltimore and the Niners and a couple of others, that truly value the running back position, or value having good players at the running back position. And so when you look at it from that angle, like, I think the Dolphins would be almost more inclined to sit him week 1, but so for the guillotine league, that makes him super risky. Like, your third round pick not playing week 1, and again, it's ride or die every week here. So Havdi letting him hang there, throwing him right on the table, grabbing Achane right there in the third round. I don't know. Had he fallen all the way to the 3-4 turn, I would have had a hard time not taking him. I would have used one of my 16 picks on Jalen Wright probably at the end there, and just gone ahead and fired Jalen Wright up, or whatever other running backs I was able to grab. Fired them right up week 1 and rolled them out there. But man, it's a ballsy move there by, I'm talking Havdi, by Riley King Weezy. He's the one that went ahead and grabbed Achane. So he started off with Saquon, so he's got a good number 1. But we'll see how he's able to go the rest of the draft here. He hasn't grabbed a quarterback yet, and this is a 14-team super flex. So we'll see. We'll see what quarterbacks slide to him. I'm sure he's going to be able to get 2 quarterbacks, but he might have to do it with his next 2 picks here. So yeah, that's where Weezy's hanging out, and he's got Malik Neighbors too, who's banged up. He hasn't practiced in 12 days, they said now. Injury, and a bad back. Now they could just be resting him, and that's fine. But Jackson Dart hasn't had a problem anyway without Malik Neighbors. Dude is on fire. Jackson Dart went. Where's his numbers here? No, I don't want to see what the Jets did because it's just gross. Jackson Dart went 14 of 16 for a $137 and a touchdown, following up his week 1 performance with this performance. And now, man, if he does another one like that, I don't know. It's hard not to start the kid week 1, but I don't think they will. They've got a real rough first 4 games. I could see them doing, if y'all remember Eli Manning sat. He was the first overall pick in the draft. Sat behind a very old-looking Kurt Warner. Now, Kurt Warner, when he was a rookie, was very old. Okay, not as old as I am, but he was old looking, and so that was his second team. And then you remember he went to the Cardinals and actually took him to the Super Bowl. But yeah, Kurt Warner was there with the Giants Eli Manning's rookie season, and he started the first month. And then Eli came in and took over the reins, and I could see something very similar going on with the New York Giants, as Brian Dable hopes to see another day every week there in New York. And so it'll be interesting to see what Dable's got up his sleeve to try and keep his job. Otherwise, Jackson Dart's going to be looking at a new regime right away in his second season. So that's where the Giants are at. It's a tough predicament, but you could look at it 2 ways. Like, it's a good thing also, right? Because you got a good young quarterback, man. That's the way to roll in the NFL. You get a good young quarterback on a rookie contract. You can build up the rest of your team. Got Malik Neighbors for him. That is some solid stuff right there for the Giants if they can just keep things going in the right direction. It's a tough division. You got a couple of Super Bowl contenders in the Eagles and Commanders, and then you've got, whatever you've got that Jerry Jones is trying to put together in Dallas. I have no idea why he is just so damn stingy with the contracts for his elite players. Like, you think he would have learned the first time with Dak, but no. He did it with CeeDee. He waited and waited and waited, just like he's doing with Micah Parsons, and now he's going to pay Micah Parsons probably he's going to pay him opening week, give him this monster contract that'll be the highest paid deal for an edge rusher, when he could have done it before Myles Garrett got signed. He could have done it before TJ Watt got signed, but now he's got to pay him, Micah Parsons, more than both of those dudes. Like, just complete asinine. Just doesn't make any sense, Jerry. What are you doing? Anyway, I don't know if you'll be able to pull it off with George Pickens now. They won't be able to afford George Pickens because they're paying Dak so much, because they're paying CeeDee so much, and because they're going to be paying Micah Parsons so much. They won't be able to afford George Pickens. Whereas if he did do it beforehand, they might be able to afford him. But at least they'll have him for this season. Anyway, going into the second round, we saw Foss grab Bo Nix up at the top of the second round at the 201. So you can see the need for the quarterback there with the Bo Nix selection. Then Derrick Henry goes. Christian McCaffrey, not afraid there. Hergot jumping on CMC for week 1. Finn Ladden grabbing Caleb Williams. Then Malik Neighbors, as I mentioned, to King Weezy. Trey McBride in this full point tight end premium. A little surprised McBride slid this far. Havdi getting a steal there, in my opinion, at the 206 pick. Then Baker Mayfield at the 207. Man, I love me some Baker, but damn, that is pricey. Ashton Genty going at the 208. 209 goes Bucky Irving to J Uncut. Justin scooping up old Bucky. And Puka Nacua. So you can see the picks that were made to fill positions pushed these wide receivers down the board. Puka falls to the 210. Josh Jacobs taken then at the 211 by Steve, and Brock Purdy at the 212. So, man, a lot of these picks that normally don't go in the second rounds did, and that's what allowed Brian Thomas to fall to Mike Woe, and then myself, I got Nico Collins. The back end of the second in a 14-teamer. That's insane value. I really contemplated taking George Kittle right here in a full point tight end premium, because from yesterday, what I learned was taking a top end quarterback, and Josh Allen, and then top end tight end in Brock Bowers, is that literally the rest of the draft I just had to focus on running back and wide receivers. But honestly, I didn't really like what I ended up looking at the running back and wide receiver position. I ended up with a bunch of second tier dudes, and I wanted a hammer at the wide receiver position, so that's why I went Nico. Now, I'll end up with whoever at tight end. I'll probably end up honestly being one of the last to draft a tight end in this league now because of that move. But I'm fine with it. I'm happy what I ended up getting at the 3-4 turn that slid down to me. I got my guy Omarion Hampton. Love it. Hampton's value just keeps increasing. As long as the Pirate Najee is out, you're just going to keep seeing it increase. And week 1, I am ready for Hampton to be firing on all cylinders there for the Chargers offense, banging in some nice touchdowns and getting plenty of carries. And then I followed it up with, I was super close to taking a quarterback. Super close, but man, I just wanted to get a leg up on the rest of the league at the wide receiver position, and I think I really did that by getting T. Higgins. Now I've got Nico and T, and as you can see from the rest of the league here, there's only Havdi's got CeeDee and AJ Brown, and Foss has Amon-Ra and Drake London. So I would say, right now I got the third best, arguably the third best wide receiver room. All right. Because, I'll take Amon-Ra and Drake London over Nico and T any day. But, I don't know that anybody else can match me here. So I'm happy with my choice. I like Omarion Hampton's upside. Some late rookie running back magic, hopefully. And I'm good with it. I'm ready to roll. I mean, there could be a ton of quarterbacks that go here. There could be a big, huge QB run before the 5-6 turn hits, and I end up with some, bum, or maybe it's so bad that I wait then again till the 7-8 turn. But I got Lamar at QB1. I can take that risk, and then if you know how the Guillotine League works, so every week one team's eliminated and their whole roster gets tossed into the free agency pool, and we get to bid on them. You get 1,000 in Fab to start bidding. Now, I don't love necessarily the idea of having to throw a shitload of money at the quarterback position because they're going to cost the most, right? It's a super flex league, so the quarterbacks that do get thrown into the pool that are top 15 quarterbacks at least, any of those from where we just drafted now, any of the quarterbacks now up until, Kyler Murray here. Kyler Murray and above, any of those dudes ends up on the losing team week 1, it's going to be a hefty bid on to acquire them. So, all right. After BTJ and Nico went, we did the reversal, and so let me slide the board over for you again. There we go. All right, and so Fossboss grabbed Drake London, so he's got Drake London and Amon-Ra St. Brown along with Bo Nix. Frosty's then went ahead and grabbed the guy I was talking about or contemplating taking in George Kittle. And then Hergot solidified his QB room for the rest of the draft with Herbert adding it to Patrick Mahomes and CMC. Finn Laden then grabbed Drake May. So he's got a nice young QB stable in May and Caleb along with Brock Bowers. So he's going a total different build than anyone else. Then, as we said, finally, Devon Achane goes. And like I said, it was just literally a game of chicken. And this is what's going to happen in a lot of your redrafts because there's going to be question marks on Achane right up until kickoff in week 1, literally. And so in most of your redrafts, unless you get some huge news here, most of your redrafts from here on through that Thursday night opening week, you're going to be playing chicken with the rest of your league on Achane, and that's going to be one of the biggest decisions you make because literally everybody in this draft could have taken Achane, starting with probably, Achane wasn't necessarily going ahead of McCaffrey and Henry. Yeah, he was going right in their range, okay? A lot of people had Achane around running back 5, so they had McCaffrey at 4, then Achane at 5, Henry at 6. I think that was the consensus, but you could have ordered them. You could have put them in any order, really, and you could throw Genty in that mix, too. So Achane was anywhere in the running back 7s, all right? First running backs, 7 first running backs. But here, dude, he went 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10th off the board. I think it was 10th. There's not another one that went in there, was there? Yeah, 10th running back off the board. So he did still go ahead of JT and Chase Brown, which for me, I don't know, man. It's hard for me to take Achane over JT or Chase Brown right now, even Omarion Hampton. So I would put him down, Achane down near Breece Hall and James Cook, honestly. And so James Cook, be tough for me to say. I don't know that I could have taken Achane over James Cook in this format, because this format, you got to win those early weeks. You gotta skip through those, slide through those early weeks, pick up 1 or 2 of those studs from the teams that get eliminated first, and then you can kind of hopefully coast through and get near, get into that final 4 or 5 teams. Then anything can happen. But again, I pass. So if we get to my picks here, I can show you who I was debating on. And so there was another wide receiver I thought about. There was 1 or 2 quarterbacks I was looking at. I have Omarion Hampton over Breece Hall, and the simplicity of it boils down to the offenses, the 2 offenses there. Like, the Chargers offense is going to be in the red zone more than the Jets. It's as simple as that. Then you add into the mix the fact that Braylon Allen and Isaiah Davis have been getting a lot of work this preseason. Isaiah Davis not this week, but Braylon Allen still did. The carries were 11-8 in favor of Breece Hall, and so that's like a 60-40 split. Not even. It's like, 57-43 the split. So, yeah, on a weak offense, and then you've still got Isaiah Davis coming in, and then you have Justin Fields potentially stealing a few goal line touchdowns. Like, dude, how many touchdowns does that leave Breece Hall? If Isaiah Davis is stealing some receiving work, how many receptions does that leave Breece Hall? I just don't see the upside of taking Breece Hall. You're taking Breece Hall, and you're just taking a floor, which sure in a guillotine league I guess is all right, but do you want to be wasting your 4th round pick on that? I don't know. I mean, I get it why Mike took him, but like, man, I don't know. I mean, I'd rather have James Cook at this point. I'll say that. James Cook's going to score more touchdowns for sure. And the odds that either of them gets to 1,000 yards this year is pretty even. Probably pretty even. Right? So yeah, I'm going to take James Cook over Breece Hall there in that situation. So anyway, I like my build. I'm happy with it. But let's talk here. What do you guys? You got any questions out there? Go ahead and fire away. I'm gonna rip through some of the highlights from week 2 of the preseason. We've got the New England Patriots doing it again. Travion Henderson lighting it up. My man Efton Chisholm gets in the end zone once again. Oh, just awesome. Like, I have over a 50% share of Efton Chisholm. And why? Well, because of the price. Like, he literally is free, or he has been free. I don't know how free he is now. But there we go. There's my boy. Efton Chisholm breaking records at Eastern Washington. Man, have you seen their football field? Oh my God, no wonder the scouts didn't want to go there. They have, you've seen Boise's field, right? The blue? Well, Eastern Washington went all red. Their whole football field's literally red. I love it. And then their uniforms are all red as well. Like, that is just, wow, that is hard to watch. But anyway, this guy is not hard to watch. This guy's a stud. Now, pulled up with a light, minor injury in practice, and so that was on Monday, today. So I'm not worried about that. Efton Chisholm, again, I literally have over 50% ownership of him in my leagues because he's literally free. He might not be free anymore, though, in your leagues. So go ahead, go out there and get him. I know you're not getting him in any of my leagues, though, because I own him in any league that he was available. So you got to find your own league to scoop this boy up. All right. Travion Henderson, as we mentioned here. So what kind of split are we looking at? I mean, we still have Ramondre Stevenson there, of course, who's more really is just a body. Okay. Henderson, Stevenson didn't play in this last one. Antonio Gibson got the start, and then Travion worked his way in. I think that we're looking at like a 50, 40, 10 split here. You know, and Jahmyr Gibbs has been able to make it work. Now, I don't know that this offense here in New England is going to be as explosive as the Lions. But I think it gives Henderson, you know, RB2 upside. potentially high RB2. Again, depending on the red zone work that he's able to find. Um, but yeah, it's going to be interesting with New England. Who gets the main role that we all want to see for a Josh McDaniels offense? Who gets that Wes Welker, Julian Edelman role? Because we know that's where the money is at. And, for now, it sure looks like it'll be Stephon Diggs. But this guy, Easton Chisholm, man, he's doing everything to take it away from him. All right, we got another rookie to talk about. That's my boy down in Tampa, Lemke Ibuka. Yeah, Ibuka getting into the end zone from old Teddy Ballgame. Teddy Bridgewater, we all know, getting suspended from coaching in high school for paying for kids, inner city kids. He coached at Miami Northwestern down there, the biggest powerhouse in the city of Miami, one of the biggest powers in high school football in the state of Florida, Miami Northwestern, and he was paying for kids Uber rides and meals out of his own pocket. The dude gets suspended. So hey, I mean, I'll take him as my backup to Baker, but dude, that's kind of shitty, honestly. Charlie Jones, wide receiver number 2. I don't know, man. I already got my wide receiver 2. Wait, you think Colin, you think T isn't gonna think they're gonna sit T for Charlie Jones? I mean, 4 for 32 and a touchdown. Yeah, why not, right? I think I'm all right with my pick with T. Buka had what did he end up with? He had a couple catches this week. Last week he just had his first catch. Buka, no, I'm wrong. Sorry, he just had the 1 5-yard touchdown, but it was a dime. Teddy Ballgame dropped it right in there for him. He also threw one to Bucky Irving. Bucky getting in on the action. The key to note there for Bucky, now I know Rachaad White sat this one out with the hamstring issue, which is good for Sean Tucker, but Sean Tucker didn't really do much with his opportunity this week, going 4 carries for 6 yards. But Bucky played 18 out of the first 19 snaps. So that's great news for Bucky fans. I'll be honest, I haven't been the biggest Bucky supporter this offseason, and maybe it's just my anti-homerism, so to speak. I don't want to get too high on my own guys, but maybe I should be higher on Bucky than I am. And so if you drafted Bucky in your second or third rounds, hopefully you didn't waste a second on him. And I'm not hating on the pick in this league because I can tell the running backs are going early, but and the wide receivers are getting faded a little. But yeah, Bucky is looking like he could be a stud once again. And if the Tampa offense is a top 5 offense this year, well, like I'm hoping, obviously, if they're a top 5 offense, that's going to give old Bucky here plenty of opportunity to be a top 5 running back if he's getting that kind of work. Now, I'm not expecting, 18 out of 19 snaps is insane. But if this dude gets 70+% of the work, whew, even if he's getting over 60% of the work and they're top 5 offense, like he's going to get most of the goal line work. So that's huge. But if he can steal some of those receptions from Rachaad White and keep Sean Tucker on the bench, well, that's going to be good. That's going to be good news for him. Now, over to the other side in that Pittsburgh Tampa game. Caleb Johnson got a lot of work, but he was basically splitting with Kenny Gainwell as Jalen Warren got the night off. So there's two ways to look at that in the Pittsburgh backfield, and this is the key, because for the Pittsburgh offense, once again, we all talk shit about Arthur Smith, but you can use it to your advantage. Like the running backs are going to get work in this offense, right? You want if Caleb Johnson is getting all of the Najee Harris carries, like by season end, if Pittsburgh is a winning ball club, like let's say they do get to 10 or more wins this year, that means Caleb's going to have 250 plus totes of the rock, over 1,000 yards, right? And the goal line work. So that bodes well for Caleb. I think that my opinion here is that they're resting Jalen Warren because he knows the offense. They've got two new guys in Kenny Gainwell and Caleb Johnson, who had 11 carries. I don't think I mentioned it. 11 carries for 50 yards. So a solid night. I think they want to get both of those guys acclimated to the new offense. They've rested DK both games. They've even rested Rodgers. Not surprising there. But they are getting these two new running backs some work. And I don't think that Kenny Gainwell is really going to figure into this too much. Once again, it is Arthur Smith, and, Cordell Patterson got plenty of work. Now they cut Cordell, so he's not there anymore. But, that does... He's still there, right? But I don't think he eats into Caleb Johnson. Kenny Gainwell would kind of eat more into Jalen Warren's production than anything. All right. Also note, Roman Wilson had 2 bombs. I'm not moving him up my board because of that, but, it does look nice in the stat book. All right. We'll slide over to Denver now and talk about their backfield, where R.J. Harvey, the rookie, had another decent night. Got into the end zone, 3 carries for 18 yards. J.K. Dobbins also not getting action. So, they're trying to work Harvey in and get him some reps. Jaleel McLaughlin just won't go away, though. 3 carries for 48 yards. He had a big 35-yarder. And then Audric Estime, 9 carries for 20 yards. So he's that big plotter. I don't know that he'll do much better than that. Evan Engram had a big one, 58 yards. Bo Nix took the night off. Troy Franklin trying to ease his way in somehow. Now, the key here in the wide receiver room for Denver, if we're expecting Bo Nix to do as well or improve on last season, well, somebody other than Cortland Sutton's going to be doing something, right? Now, Engram got into the mix the other night, and everybody's banking on Engram being the guy, but, aside from Cortland Sutton, it's Marvin Mims and Devon Bailey. Those 2 and Cortland Sutton had the night off. So those 3 look like they're the top 3 there. So don't put too much into the Troy Franklin 2 touchdowns. Pat Bryant also went 4 for 70. So, if I had to guess right now, those are the top 5 there in Denver. But Pat Bryant and Franklin are still on the outside looking in as far as the top 3 wide receivers go. And then you have Evan Engram as well. So you got a 4th target. R.J. Harvey is going to get some the Sean Payton system targets the backfield more than any system in the NFL. So it is hard for me to see an actual wide receiver 2 worth drafting in most leagues, outside from Cortland Sutton. I don't know that I'm buying too much in. I guess maybe I could throw a flyer on Marvin Mims late in the best ball draft. But Pat Bryant's still not somebody that I really bought into. Maybe I'm wrong here. He did go 4 for 70, but with Vele getting the night off, it still bodes well that he's ahead of him on the depth chart. All right. Then we'll talk another running back room. This one's ugly. All right. So Javonte Williams and the Dallas Cowboys. Javonte looks like he may have the job. He did not play. All right. But they gave Miles Sanders plenty of chances. Deuce Vaughn got some work. Jaden Blue did not play. So, but Miles Sanders, 7 for 15, missed a key block. Just not looking great. I don't know. Most of the Cowboys fans want Miles Sanders out because of the block that he missed, but that's one play. I mean, I would think that going into the season, it's looking like Javonte Williams is going to be the first and second down back. Maybe Blue gets the third down work. Maybe Sanders does out of the gate. All in all, it's a situation that if it's cheap enough, I guess I'll throw a dart on Javonte Williams now. But otherwise, and I'll be honest, I've got some Miles Sanders shares that I've still had hanging around, but not looking great right now, honestly. Joe Milton looked even worse. Some Cowboys fans calling for his head, but they don't really have any other choices. Will Grier, I mean, come on. Over to the Battle of LA, we had the Chargers and the Rams going at it, and the Chargers wide receivers. This is aside from Lad McConkey, who sat out. Actually, sorry, he didn't sit out. He did have a grab for 17 yards. But the two main stars here were Trey Harris and Lambert Smith. Trey Harris, 6 for 85. And Lambert Smith going 2 for 66, following up his big week 1. Now, this is a situation where Ladd lines up in the slot, and these two are the X and Z wide receivers, so you have to understand the format. Now, Ladd will play on the outside as well. They're not going to have Harris and Lambert Smith starting, but Lambert Smith's been outperforming Harris most of the preseason up until this week. So it'll be interesting between these two who ends up getting the most targets. Quentin Johnston left with a concussion, and so I think these two might vulture each other. So maybe in a best ball, I'm still fine getting both of these. I was higher on Trey Harris early in the season, but early in this offseason, but now I had kind of faded him, and once we got into rookie drafts, and I had picks in the early second, I was taking a lot of Luther Burden and or Jackson Dart. If Dart fell, I was jumping all over him if he was there in the second. I know I grabbed Scattaboo in one league, but that was more so a positional thing. I needed a running back in that league. But anyway, don't put too much into this performance is the bottom line, in my opinion. Omarion Hampton went 2 for 12. He's still looking real solid as the RB1 there. Again, with Najee missing because of his fun incident on the 4th of July. All right. Next up, we're going to head to the battle. From LA, we're going to go across the country over to New York City, and the battle between the Giants and the Jets. I don't know if anybody outside of New York really wanted to watch this one, but Jackson Dart, you missed out. Jackson Dart going just balls out, 14 for 16, $137 and a touchdown. This guy is looking like the real deal so far. Winston got in 6 for 11 for 110 yards. Russell Wilson started 4 for 7 for 108 yards and an interception. Like I said, the Giants have a rough start to the season. Let me bring up their schedule again. So they start the season at Washington, at Dallas, versus Kansas City, and home to the Chargers the first 4 weeks. So honestly, I could see them starting Jackson Dart week 5 at New Orleans. That could be the first opportunity, I think, for Jackson Dart. Because otherwise, their next week is Philly, then it's at Denver, then it's at Philly, and then home to the Niners. Like, when are they gonna, you can't just not start the guy because, well, the schedule's too hard. This is the NFL. He's got to get ready, and he's looking good so far. And that's without Malik Neighbors. So once you get Neighbors back into the mix, then we're really cooking with fire. We're cooking with fire. We're cooking with gas. All right. And we got the old Battle of the Bay, but not anymore. It was San Francisco and Las Vegas. Ashton Genty getting into the mix, looked explosive on his first run there where he bowled over the Niners safety. Finished with 7 for 33 and a touchdown. He's the real deal, folks. Like I've said, I have not seen a rookie running back that I could comp to LT before. Now, I'm not saying he's got to be LaDainian Tomlinson, okay? But the dude is from a small school, was a top 10 pick, and he runs like him, okay? I don't know that he's going to be LaDainian Tomlinson, but he's going to be pretty damn good, and I'm not afraid to draft him. Some people are afraid to draft him in redrafts, so they're pushing him off. I'm not afraid to. I mean, him versus McCaffrey is close. I'm going to take McCaffrey still, but right after that, especially with Achane now and his injury, in a redraft, you can talk Henry, and I'll probably still take Derrick Henry over. It's close. Because Genty's going to get a bunch of looks. He's going to get a bunch of catches. Man, this guy is explosive. Now, Ricky Pearsall, who has been moving up the boards a lot, caught 3 catches on 1 drive. He looked solid. He looked good. All right? So don't be afraid to take Ricky Pearsall when you get into that round 6 through 9 where there's a nice pocket of wide receivers in the redrafts. I'm actually contemplating that I might actually draft the guy. Before this, I was not taking Ricky Pearsall. All right, so then we'll finish it off with my thoughts here on the Devon Achane injury. Of course, the big news there, his calf. He won't practice this week. Calf injuries are tough. Now, head coach Mike McDaniel kind of tried to brush it off, saying that it was days to weeks, but he's not concerned about week 1. Well, there's only 3 weeks here until week 1 there, Mike. So, yeah, you scared the shit out of the rest of us. But, yeah, so with Achane, the crazy thing is he has league-winning upside, right? But the scary thing is that he also has a bad floor. And so with the other options there, like Achane goes right around Derrick Henry, right? Well, I'll take Henry's floor if we're saying that he's going to age a little this year. Like, I don't think the bottom's falling out on Henry. And, even if Henry loses 10%, even 15% off of what he did last year, which was 1,900 yards and 16 touchdowns, like we're talking 1,500 yards and 12 touchdowns. I mean, hell, I'll take that for my RB1 at the back end of the first. I would like more, and I think he can do more. I think he could replicate last season. So, yeah, I'm just going to take Derrick Henry over Achane right now. And like I said, in that Guillotine League, I had Achane fall all the way down. Like, I would take JT over him. Chase Brown, I'll take. Like, yeah, this injury really scares me. There's just the point is there's just too many other really good players to be taking in those ranges, right? All those receivers that are in that area, Puka might fall into that area. Amon-Ra, Brian Thomas, Nico Collins, like all those guys, they're all super good as well. Like there's no reason to just take the injured guy here. So yeah, that's the real main takeaway I get from looking at the draft board right now and seeing like the top 15 players. If we're talking a one quarterback redraft league, which many of you will be going into, Dynasty, this is not going to be the time to trade Achane. You just got to kind of ride it out. And again, I think worst case scenario, we're looking at him missing weeks 1 and 2. All right. And in Dynasty, that is not enough for me to bail on. So I'm just looking up their schedule here. They start off the year at Indy and then home to the Patriots. Week 3 is at Buffalo. So on a short turnaround. So maybe he misses the first 3 games. But yeah, I'm thinking that they're going to take it easy with him and they're going to try their best to get him out there because this offense is way different without him. Jalen Wright just isn't. Jalen Wright is not Devon Achane. So that's my thoughts on preseason week number 2 on my Guillotine League, how it started off so far. We'll circle back to it and give you a rewind and recap on the Guillotine League. But go ahead and check out the Guillotine Leagues now live on Sleeper, allowing you to set up your Guillotine Leagues. Prior to this, the only format or only site that I know of that you could do it really on was guillotineleagues.com, and they of course charged for it. So now Sleeper, which is free, you can do your Guillotine Leagues on there. All right, so please hit the like and subscribe. You'll get all of the notifications for our upcoming videos. We'll have Matt English back in the house soon, hopefully this Thursday night, and we have plenty of more to talk about as we're just 3 weeks away now. We've got one more preseason game, a week off, and then Thursday night. Yes, we're ready for some real football. Had some good action tonight with the Bengals and Commanders, and we're loving it here in the Birdhouse. Hope you are too. And with that, I want to remind y'all once again, never stop working.